are going to talk about two players, Jeremy Frimpong and Milos Kerkez, because there are very, very, very strong talk, rumours, probably more than rumours now, that these deals are very close. Maybe Frimpong is closer than Kerkez, but with that in mind, we thought it would be good to get the view of the lads involved here, particularly Mr. Simon Brundish, because he is the guy with the magic logins. The magic logins to the sports to the sports physical data, the meters per second, the power rate ratio, the vital inside leg measurements of all these players. So, Si, once you got your data back, we actually asked you to go away and do a bit of a data scraping of the two guys and come back to. So what did you find, Si? How excited are you about these two signings, potential signings?
So bear in mind, I don't get excited about transfers. I'm the least excitable of us about transfers, and probably one of the least in the Liverpool fan base. I am intrigued by Frimpong. I actually really like Kerkez. I think he's a really good young player. He, in a similar way to how we recruited Mane's replacement, it feels like that for Robbo. We've gone, what are the criteria for being a Liverpool fullback? Looks like Robbo, but maybe a little bit more technical because we've got Slot. So he wants. There are very obvious physical thresholds that he needs to be capable of. So it doesn't put more stress on other areas of the team, and he needs to be robust. So he's playing lots of games. He's demonstrated a large capacity to repeat high intensity games. Not playing an awful lot midweek, which would be my one concern over it. But if you're bringing Kerkez in when you've still got Robbo, who's just played a 3,500 minute season, you think you're doing okay. It's a little bit like Marvin Ashford with Ali, I think. It's getting ahead of the game. Why are we replacing Ali with Marvin Ashford? I don't think we are. I think we're getting potentially the best goalkeeper in the world to join the best goalkeeper in the world and fill in the minutes that Ali misses every year. Ali misses 10 games a season, and it's probably not going to go down. So,
well, last year, remember, it was in last season. Kev played more games than Ali. Over the season. Yeah. It was that level of injury.
Well, Ali's only just played more games than Kev this season. So 2 games ago. So it's very close. So having a second really, really high caliber keeper makes sense. And I think getting a young high caliber fullback that can learn the culture, earn his start. It might for a season make Robbo, I don't know, pick up his form a little bit, keep him fresh. I don't know. You hear of these things in football, but I'm the feeling that physically he is past his peak. Kerkez is at his physical peak right now, and he's a physical monster. I just moved the sheet.
So he's 21.
21. But he has top speed of basically 35 kilometers an hour. And the significant thing, I think, is of the fullbacks we compared, he has the highest average distance covered, along with Conor Bradley. So I compared our fullbacks that we currently have, and then the other top 10 fullbacks in the league, top 10 teams fullbacks in the league. And so covers a really high distance, but that doesn't matter because Harvey Elliott covered the most distance in the game on yesterday. What he does do is he's making 74 high intensity runs a game, which is Trent is at 67. Trent's at 67. So he's making 10% more than Trent. He's making more than Robbo. And we have to look at these structurally with what is demanded of him from the managers tactically. So what we can say is not that he has a high capacity. We know that he can cover the demands we've seen Slot require this season.
So high intensity side, that's not sprint. It's a threshold below sprint. I think sprint was 7 meters per second or higher. What is?
Yeah, 5.6. So
and
you're talking
high intensity.
Anything above 21 kilometers an hour is high intensity. So it would be a run, like an actual run that's above a jog. Yeah. You would find it really hard to keep up for 20 seconds with a high intensity run of a footballer. The average, I don't mean us at our age, I mean just the average 30-year-old would find it hard for 30 seconds to run as fast as a footballer, to sprint as fast as a footballer can for just their lowest threshold of high speed run. If you go on the treadmill, you try to run for 30 seconds at 21 kilometers an hour. That's some hard work. So it's, and fullbacks tend to have the highest high intensity running numbers because they require the most meters of that. It's usually not the most instances of it, but and again that usually comes from wide forwards, but theirs is usually shorter. But the most meters of high intensity running, like between 14 and 1600 meters a game, that's the good stuff. The only midfielder in the country that does that is called Dominic. But the fullbacks, it's beast-like numbers from Kerkez and also from Frimpong. But I couldn't split Frimpong's performances by position. He's played all of the positions this season. Literally, he's played 9 different positions this season. So I couldn't isolate that as a fullback. But it doesn't really matter. As I said, we're looking at output numbers, and they are opportunity-based. So all we can say is they've demonstrated the capacity that matches the what we've seen Slot needs in his team for it to work. Yeah. And they both demonstrate the capacity to do that, plus a little bit more, at least a little bit more, if not a lot more. But we've seen them do a little bit more than that. And they've remained fit for the whole season. So that's really good. So neither of them have had any significant injuries. They're both robust. I know they both strength train is part of their academy development, but also they're both jacked. And if you don't know my position on these things, there's a fatigue index pod with Neil Parsley talking about the appropriate physical body shape of professional footballers, where we talk about it for 2 hours. I'm pleased with these guys. They look like they're fast and robust. Both of them have got a real turn of speed. I'm doing a deceleration prezzo this week on braking and the ability to stop really, really quickly, which people won't see, but that is Dominic Szoboszlai's superpower. That's what makes him so good at pressing, that he can accelerate and decelerate instantly and get straight off into an acceleration in a different direction. It's not just long in a straight line running, which other lads have. So Frimpong definitely has that. I've seen that he has what we call impact scores, but it will be changes of direction. Decelerations and accelerations in a game. I've seen his numbers and they're more than 200. And for a fullback, if you're getting above 100, that's quite a lot. So he changes direction quite a lot. But I don't know what position he's playing at the time. Wingers do it more than fullbacks. So, but they've both demonstrated a really high capacity for all of the work that Slot has shown he needs his fullbacks to be doing.
So Kerkez is 21. Will he have finished growing height-wise and stature-wise, or has he got more to go on this?
Typically 21, 22 is the end of your growth cycle, but it literally depends on he's not going to go 24. He might have finished 18, is what I'm about to say.
Yeah.
So it's possible he's got a tiny bit more growth, but in all likelihood, he's done. He looks like a big butch early maturer to me. So I hadn't seen him. I couldn't find out. If I knew you were going to ask that question, I could find out.
Yeah, I'm sure he's actually got taller in the last 18 months. I mean, because I think seem to recall
Okay.
when I seem to recall just on the eye test when he first joined Bournemouth that he was much more squat and more like Shaq style, you know, in terms of his build. But he's always been broad and stocky. But yeah, I did. But he's almost 6 foot now as well. So what you like about Kerkez, he's got a really good high top speed, 35k, which is excellent. But you're saying it's the volume of high intensity and sprint running he does up and down that line,
So
basically.
he records about 50% more sprints in a game than Trent does.
Yeah.
People don't get the Trent, like they talk about Bam being lazy, but they've also always undervalued his innate athleticism. We've talked on this on the
Fastest player in the team last pre-season, we said. Fastest player. Yeah.
He was the fastest player in pre-season. And so Trent is rapid, and both these boys are faster than Trent.
Amazing.
But they sprint more often. That's the other thing as well. The Frimpong is a freak. His numbers are off the charts physically. So he's making 83 high intensity runs a game. And Trent is 67. And the league average for a fullback in England is 69. And he's making 83. So that's kind of the difference between Zobbo and an average Declan Rice, box-to-box midfielder.
Yeah.
So it might be a really, really interesting transition into something where I saw Slot talk about having extra weapons. I found it interesting all season the way he was utilising the forwards for most of the season. I think the last 2 months he hasn't, but for most of the season he was picking from his Swiss Army knife of tools to solve the solution from the teams we were playing against. And I think this gives a different way to attack from the fullback than if we use just thinking the two as a combination, the left and right back as a combination. It's an interesting difference, and then it allows you to use an 8 in a different way as well. But it's similar to Connor Bradley. That's what I'd like to say.
Yeah. Now, obviously, one thing not similar with Connor Bradley with Milos Kerkez is injuries. I can't find a single instance of him being injured. Si, can you?
No.
What does that mean? Is that how unusual is it for a player 21 and a half almost of his age to never had a recorded injury? Is that freakish or?
No, I don't think it's that freakish. I don't think he's got massive minutes played numbers either at his age, which is great. I think both of them are in a very nice position from a historical playing load perspective that we can launch into big careers. But yeah, it's not. So I would say it's probably half of players at 21 have never officially missed games through injury.
Yeah.
We have to, right? Yeah. The world in the last 2 years has woken up to injuries. Ben has become relatively famous and a go-to guy of Premier injuries.
Yeah.
Because he's been collating data. And his data this is not to undermine Ben. I love Ben. He's a really good dude.
It's what's recorded by the clubs, isn't it? That's the weakness.
What's recorded by the clubs isn't the stuff that's recorded by Premier injuries. And Premier injuries is being utilised by the media as fact.
Yeah.
And before 5 years ago, stuff wasn't even recorded in a ledger by most clubs.
Yeah. So, this is what can I just say to listeners? This is completely consistent with what Si said during COVID season when he says, if you don't test your players, you're not going to have any cases to report. So yeah. Anyway, so with injuries, it's but if you look at the availability amount of games he's played, I think it does follow because he has played every single league game for Bournemouth this season. I think he missed 3 through suspension last season. Yeah, tremendous. And Frimpong, just before we bring the other guys in, obviously, is he what you would describe as twitchy, say?
Yeah, he's really twitchy in a Mane kind of boingy.
I was going to ask that exact question because it looks like from a standing start, he has got that Sadio Mane absolutely blistering acceleration from that stand to reach his top speed extremely quickly. Does that stack up in
Exactly.
the data?
So in a really boring way for anybody that might care to listen or not, that I test profile players, athletes, sportsmen, in whatever, right? In for a thing called relative strength index, and it's an equation that tests basically how quickly you can recycle force. So if you jump, how quickly you can get off the floor.
The Reds, it's Jack here, and that was a clip from one of Anfield Index's audio podcasts. If you have enjoyed the video, make sure you do like, share and subscribe to keep up to date on all things LFC. We record around 100 audio podcasts every month, with our shows featuring match-going fans, top journalists, professional analysts and even Liverpool legends along the way, with the great Dane himself, Jan Molby, joining us every single week. If you want to listen to all our podcasts for free, head over to anfieldindex.com/podcasts. Our audio shows are available wherever you get your podcasts. Just search Anfield Index. Or if you prefer to listen to all our podcasts in full and without any ads, why not head over to AI Pro today to check it out now at AnfieldIndexPro.com. If you want to get involved in the great growing community of Liverpool fans, check out the Anfield Index Discord. The link is in the description. Do get involved with that, from Reds around every corner of the globe. For now, Reds, hope you enjoyed this video.